Good after morning, everyone. Welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Plus. My name is Graham D, and I'm joined by the man that we call BB.
Good after morning, just about after morning.
You've got an audio volume screening thing on your face. It's gone now. Nice. Let's go. I was just checking Bibby's levels before we went live, and there you go. Leave it in the box of your face. I'll read Bib. Hello. So, as Bibby just mentioned, it is just after morning. We went live just before morning. We've been live for 10 minutes. It's now just gone 10 past 12, so we went live just on time. We'll take that. Anyway, welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. If you don't know who we are, my name is Graham. This is Bib. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true ice creamy fashion, this is the UK's #1 video game podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. We are bringing you your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. The biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. We're then going to give you our thoughts and impressions on those stories, and we want to hear your thoughts and impressions, and then your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. That's kind of how the whole thing works. We are live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, where we go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. 10 a.m.-ish. We haven't any more to cover the ish because sometimes it's not quite 10 a.m., which is all the time. But yeah, it's fine. Nice. Anyway, if you are with us on the stream, it's important that you do get involved because we are live right now, but the live stream is turned into a podcast, a video on YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play. There is lots of places where over 165,000 people have watched and listened to this podcast on demand. So please do feel free to get involved on behalf of those beautiful people that do watch and listen later on. Before we jump into the news, I want to remind you a couple of things. First of all, we're giving away a headset. One of these, an Astro A40 exclamation mark giveaway. The link is in the chat for those that have been in already. If you haven't, type it, head to our Twitter, get involved with the pinned tweet. As well as that, we have another chance for you to win. If you are watching this and you think, you know what, these chaps are okay, maybe I'm going to throw down a sub. Or maybe someone else gives you a sub. However it works, if you are a sub on the first Monday of every month, we give away a prize to a subscriber. As long as that subscriber's not Tito. Or pirate, yeah. I mean, other people win prizes, but not those guys. No, one person at random gets a sub. It doesn't matter if you're a tier 1, 2, 3, prime, or gifted sub. As long as you're a sub on the first Monday of the month, someone will win something. One person this month will bag a copy of FIFA 23, or, I'm tapping my hat, even though this is actually a Hambino hat, an Ice Cream Uploads blackout baseball cap, if you don't want FIFA. Not everyone wants a bit of football. Some people might have it already. But we'll sort that out on the first Monday of the month. So not Monday coming? Monday after, I think. Or maybe it's the Monday after the Monday after. I don't quite remember. Let me see. No, it's the Monday after the Monday after. Because...
Yeah, so 3 weeks on Monday.
2 weeks on Monday.
2 weeks on Monday. Jesus.
So yeah, the 7th of November, December... stuffness. All we know is it's getting closer and closer to my birthday. That's the key thing. So at that point, you'll be super close. You'll be less than a month. You'll be less than 30 days until my birthday, that's the thing we're all really bothered. Happy birthday to you. Thank you very much for that, Stevie Wonder. I appreciate the shout out. It is my birthday on December 3rd. Well, thank you for noticing, just in case you didn't know. The blackout hat that I won is too small for my massive noggin. It's too small for your head?
I was just about to say, I've got a significant sized head. And if it doesn't fit you, that's a lie. It's got to be.
Luke Bastille
not having it.
Is like Hagrid sized from this then. This is all I imagine. He's like Robbie Coltrane at his biggest, kind of like
ripped.
Yeah. So, I mean, mine, to be fair, it does fit quite comfortably. The only reason it might not is, see the flappy bit there? Like, it just goes into like the eye thing for it to go inside. If my head was like a couple of millimeters bigger, then I'd have a flappy bit on the back of my head, but I don't. So, Jesus, I have a massive head and it fits me with 2 notches left. Oh, have you got a snapbackage? Is it a snapback for the flat peaks? I can't even remember. I don't have a flat peak. It just contains all the useless video game knowledge. Okay. Yeah. See, that's the thing. The flat peaks are snapbacks. So, you know, if you got massive heads and that, whatever. Yeah. If you were a cool curved peaker, then you'd have the fabric clasp and the eye-ness. Yeah. By the way, exclamation mark. flat peak, exclamation mark, curve peak. They don't exist, those commands. Do you know, I don't even think the emotes exist. Oh, no, they do exist. I thought I got rid of them. But curve peak, flat peak, bosh bosh. I thought I might have got rid of them for the Halloween emotes, but they're still there. It's nice. Missed that Capcom thingy yesterday. What happened?
What?
You didn't watch it? Okay, let me jump into the split screen. It's probably going to say Bibby's in the studio, but we'll sort that out straight away. It does say Bibby's in the studio. Ah, no. It's gone.
Ah, no.
So if you missed the Capcom thing yesterday, do you know what I did? Nobody really watched it. All of the big scary games news was on Wednesday. It's the Capcom stuff. Nah. Silent Hill stuff. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Nah, well, don't worry. We got you covered. The first story of the day actually is going to cover the fact that Resident Evil 4 Remake and everything else shown in tonight's, aka last night's, RE showcase, including, and the big news, Reverse early access. I know Bibby's super excited to get into that sort of stuff. So we'll start with that. We're then going to talk about the fact that hours of footage of the Diablo 4 endgame beta has leaked. So we got more leaks from the video games industry. We'll then get there's two stories that we showed from yesterday about the Xbox building a mobile app store competitor to compete with Google and Apple, Twitch prohibiting unlicensed gambling streams, and then we'll wrap things up with, okay, babe, do you want an exclamation mark FF, or are you feeling live acoustic sessions today? What we're saying?
If you want a live performance, it can be done.
Do you know what? We'll save the live one for the actual segment later on. If you want to see Bibby get full Wonderwall, then stick around. For now, though, we'll just have one of these. This is what the last story of the day will be.
Free Game Friday!
Yeah, Free Game Friday. So that's coming later on. We'll finish things up. If you've got a PC and you want to bag some free games, we'll tell you what games you can get right now and how. First off, though, Mr. Bib.
Yes.
Quick scan of the room behind you. I can see that you are a fan of Resident Evil 2. Did you watch the Resident Evil showcase last night?
Yes, I did, Graham.
Was it good? Was it good?
Oh, I thought Discord might have done me dirty there.
No, it actually did you good. Did you enjoy it? Was it a good showcase? Did you like it? It doesn't matter if you liked it. I had enough time to get it, so I didn't really need to know your answer. That's why I full-on rocked you then. But I apologise to absolutely nobody as we jump into our first story of the day, written by Matt Wales at Eurogame. It says, Resident Evil 4 Remake and everything shown in tonight's re-showcase, including Reverse Early Access. So Capcom has given perhaps the best look yet at its highly anticipated Resident Evil 4 Remake and shared a little more on its various other Resident Evil projects in its latest video showcase, with the remake getting both new gameplay footage and a new story trailer. On the gameplay front, Capcom shared an action-packed couple of minutes of its RE4 remake, starting with a sequence from early in the game that sees protagonist Leon skulking through the woods before stumbling across a seemingly abandoned barn. It's a suitably atmospheric sequence showing off the remake's various visual upgrades, and one that segues into a chaotic outdoor battle as Leon is swarmed by Ganado?
Ganados.
Gananobot?
And then how common you are.
Gananobot. So Leon is swarmed by Nietzsche. Inevitably, things come to an end with our old friend Chainsaw Guy. But Leon somehow manages to keep his head on this time around. Following its latest gameplay reveal, Capcom discussed the remake in a little more detail, explaining its goal is to, quote, pay respect to the original game's world while implementing new ideas and state-of-the-art graphics to strengthen the core concepts of the title. This, it says, will provide a fresh experience with a sense of familiarity if you played the original that both newcomers and veterans to Resident Evil 4 will enjoy. Some of those newly implemented ideas include a broader range of attacks for the Nietzsche, as well as a newly added and extremely bloody... I can't remember what you said because I was too busy going Gananobot, so we're just going with the Nietzsche now. Ganadorobot. As well as a newly added and extremely bloody knife parry maneuver for Leon. There's also a new trade mechanic for the merchant, giving players the option to exchange gems they found on their travels for special items. As previously announced, the Resident Evil 4 remake will launch for PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC via Steam on 24th of March next year. Capcom has now confirmed players with a PS4 game will be able to upgrade to the PS5 version for free. It also revealed the various retail editions it's releasing, including a deluxe edition, which includes extra costumes, deluxe weapons, a treasure map, sunglasses accessory, and an original soundtrack swap feature, plus a physical only collector's edition, which contains all the above, plus a Leon figure, digital soundtrack, art book, poster, steelbook, and more. Those that pre-order the standard edition will receive a gold attache, okay, case variant and handgun ammo charm for use in game, while deluxe and collector edition pre-orders also get the classic attache case and green herb charm. Anyone that pre-orders the PlayStation digital version gets a mini soundtrack. Basically, there's about 27,000 different versions. That's the gist of what we get into this anyway. Capcom ended its Resident Evil 4 remake segment with a new trailer, but there was plenty of chatter about its other projects too. Do you know what I was thinking about? Do we? Because this article's quite a long article. Do we stop there and talk about Resident Evil 4 and then jump into the other bits, or do we go through it all and then pull it back together? What are your thoughts, babe?
Yeah, I think we can just go through as and what we see, obviously, because other people might not get confused. Then, obviously, including yourself, who's not familiar with these games. So I think that's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah. Okay. We'll stop then. Okay. Resident Evil 4. Lots of new stuff. As all kind of remakes are, a modern twist on an old tale that stays true to the original story, but brings it freshly into a new world, and then 27,000 versions of getting access to the game via different mediums. But what are your thoughts, Pip?
Yeah, it was very interesting because there was actually 2 trailers within the showcase itself for this, so it had like a prequel, shall we say? Obviously, before we started getting to gameplay, so it was like trailer 1, gameplay, and then like a marketing 2.5 minute, nearly 3 minute trailer at the end, which is great because we've said this loads of times now on this podcast that gameplay, that trailers nowadays should feature gameplay elements in there, and to be honest, I actually think that the gameplay elements went on a bit too long. So overall, I think they probably spent like 8 or 9 minutes on Resident Evil 4 as a whole, which is fantastic. We wanted to be able to see more stuff. It hasn't shown us, or it didn't really show us anything that we hadn't seen before. So it shows pretty much like the opening sequence, or where you ended up in the village and seeing the people for the first time. And this isn't a spoiler because it was in the trailer. You see the 2 police officers one of the police officers getting burnt at the stake. That bit obviously looks so familiar, and the way that the combat system is and things like this looks way, 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 way more impressive than I genuinely thought it was going to look. Like, even though I know that Resident Evil 2 and 3 had some of the best remakes that we have ever seen and probably likely ever going to see, I do genuinely think that 4 might actually be, in terms of visuals and the combat system, the best out of all 3 of them. And that's coming from Resident Evil 2 Remake being my favorite game of all time now, to top of the charts. Number 1, it's uncontested. I do actually think that this might actually become number 2 on that list, purely based off of the fact that the original Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 4 game, it was amazing at the time. I do feel like it was starting to be the beginning of the end in terms of the Resident Evil franchise and the direction that it was moving to. It was a lot more action focused rather than survival horror. It did have some fantastic set pieces in there, but I feel like what we're going to be getting from this one now, with all the lighting issues that we can have, like walking through the forest, like I can see obviously my stream preview is a little behind, but it just shown then Leon walking through the PlayStation 2 forest, and then what the PlayStation 5 forest looks like. It is, I'm going to say it's night and day because I think that's the easiest way of being able to explain it.
It literally was night and day then.
Yeah, because one of them was quite bright and the other one was completely dark. Like, it's fantastic being able to see how far we've come with technology and being able to implement something like this. I actually think that this is going to take a step back and be a survival horror game rather than the more action focused game. From what I'm seeing so far with the trailers, or the 2 trailers that we've seen, and the gameplay elements, obviously it is going to be a bullet hell kind of game. There's going to be ammo coming out your ass. The merchants in the game there now as well. Obviously we had the Duke in Resident Evil Village, but we're going to go back to the "what are you buying?" kind of merchant from Resident Evil 4, which everybody loved. I'm glad he made an appearance.
I did
in
see
the trailer too. So
just on that I only know this from watching kind of funny content. Tamu Hussein always does a merchant impression, and apparently they've changed the merchant's voice or something. He was saying.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
I mean,
They have changed his voice. It's obviously not the same actor that it once was. You can tell instantly for sort of have anyone who's played the game originally or listened to sound bites on people's streams. Is a completely different person. They tried to hit the same kind of style as the original one, and it works. It works. It's obviously it doesn't hit as hard as the original one did, but like I'm seriously now even more hyped for this game than I was before because I feel like they're doing such a justice to it. We've seen remakes and remasters in the past that are a complete injustice and are just a port over with 1080, like the Resident Evil remaster or the upscaling for Resident Evil 4 that moved onto the PlayStation 4. Like it didn't feel that different to me. It felt like I was playing the same game that I was playing 12 years prior. This, however, oh my god, this is gonna be hype level 1000. Like I didn't think that they would get me to this point to be able to go Resident Evil 4 again. Like I played it on everything, man. Like I haven't got that Skyrim feeling. Like I know there's a new Skyrim going to be coming out for the Nintendo Switch. Am I going to buy it? Absolutely, because it's more Skyrim. But with Resident Evil 4, I just got so tedious of it. But they're taking that formula that made Resident Evil 2 so good, that it's more of the same. But they're just throwing in enough stuff there for the veterans to go, actually, this is a little bit different this time round.
Yeah, I mean, for those that are watching the video stuff, I've had Eurogamer's video playing, and they're jumping between comparisons. So at the moment, right now, we're looking at Resident Evil 2 stuff, and when you're just seeing Leon strolling around and you've got some of the environments and stuff, obviously you can tell you're looking at something from a few generations back, kind of thing. But it still looks really good. It's when you see like the UI and you see like the skulls that were just on the screen a minute ago, you see how bad it is. But then when you see just how good current gen looks, this is obviously going to be PS5 quality stuff. You can see, okay, this is when a remaster, a remake is worthwhile of something. Jumping into the conversations we've had, I mean, I'm definitely more of a Last of Us person than a Resident Evil person, but this justifies it so much more. Seeing how just a significant step forward this is, it looks really, really good. So Resident Evil's, is it Reach for the Moon engine? That's what it's called, right? The RE engine.
Yeah, it's such a weird concept because it's called the Re engine, which you just imagine that it was called the Resident Evil engine. It's fit for purpose, but no, it's Reach for the Moon engine, which blew my mind because I didn't realize it was like that until like 2 years later. But it's bizarre.
So like the engine is great at what it does. It might not be the best for like multiple things ongoing. I don't know anything about it. What I know what it can do is give you supremely immersive, detailed, dark environments. So it excels at sharing lighting and all the rest, and does it supremely well in this game, which is we can see now. Just there, that change back from Leon to this Leon back on the PS2 version. Is it PS2? Did you say it was PS2?
Yeah. Well, it originally came out on the GameCube, but yeah, this will probably be the PlayStation 2 version. Yeah,
it's got square for jump out the window, so it will be PlayStation. So yeah, you can. I mean, huge differences. Obviously, that's what you'd expect. So it looks good. It looks really good. Jumping into the comments then. Ad says Switch Pro announced. Kappa, maybe. Okay. Was shite, wasn't it? Cloud gaming, no Switch Pro. All I saw was something on Twitter. Someone walking through a door and talking, people saying it's Resident Evil merchant guy. Was the Capcom thing just Resident Evil? Yeah, it was just a Resident Evil showcase. So it wasn't a Capcom showcase. It was a Resident Evil showcase, giving you everything about the Resident Evil-ness that's happened. So that's the first part of that. Iceman says, not going to lie, the only Capcom news that I would want to hear is when they're going to release remakes of certain Ace Attorney games. Do you know what? You are not alone. There is probably another 6 people out there that are in the same frame of mind as you, Iceman. With Capcom Resident Evil, they talk about it almost exclusively. They're flogging an undead horse. I just want a Capcom versus Marvel game. You're probably not alone with that one either, Ads. But we'll jump down. So we got through the first game. So we're picking this apart. This is an article from Eurogamer. That's the video content that we've just been watching, written by Matt Wales. But obviously, there was a number of titles released yesterday. We've gone through all of the editions. Do you want to mention anything about the editions, or should we just swerve that? Because we don't tend to get into too much about pre-ordering.
Yeah, we can move the editions. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, in that case, then we'll jump back into the article. So Capcom ended its Resident Evil 4 remake segment with a new trailer, but there was plenty of chatter about its other projects too. Its Resident Evil Village Gold Edition and Winter's expansion got another airing, for instance, with a little more shade on the latter's realm of conscience setting. It also featured the amusing tidbit that, in keeping with the fact that Ethan Winter's face has never been seen in game, it will remain concealed in the expansion's new third-person mode, with Ethan turning his face away whenever players try to adjust the camera. So does he not have a face? Like that, this is a question that we've never seen Ethan's face. And he's always going to turn his face around. Surely modders will be able to spin that camera back, kind of thing.
So it does have a face. Like you say, because there will be a 3D design of there. Whether or not he's got a nose or whatever, I'm not too sure. But I genuinely haven't seen any modders move it around to be his face or anything like that. Usually, when they've done that, it's been in the first person mode, so he doesn't have a head. You can put the camera behind him and you can just see the shoulders, the arms, and the legs. There is no head in the first person mode. It's really strange.
See, when there's a third person mode, though, that's the modders will be able to spin that camera around. I wonder if he's just going to be like a mannequin and just have no features or anything there, or whether they're actually going to make him a face or something. Because
good point, but even in the trailer, when the camera moves from side to side, you can see the profile, the corner of his eye and his nose and the corner of his mouth and stuff like that. There is obviously a face to it, but like I say, if it's actually got any detail to it, I don't know. But it's so Capcom.
My name is Optimus Prime.
His name is Optimus Prime. Enix, thank you for 28 months on the channel. Thank you for throwing down the Prime. Love you. I did actually tag Enix in a tweet this morning because Buzzkill, for those that don't know, Buzzkill Esports is owned or was owned by Connor O'Boyle, who used to be part of Team Ice Cream. He then got rid of it. He now has it back again. So we won't get to
He's got rid of it again now.
Has he actually got rid of it again now? Oh, okay.
I seen a tweet 3 days ago thanking Connor for all that they've done. So I don't know whether or not if it's gone again in the last 24 hours. I'm not too sure, but 3 days ago it sold it again.
Okay. Well, in that case, I missed that one. Anyway, the Buzzkill were tweeted about we're looking at partnering with some new content creators. Send us clips of people. So I sent them the clip of Enix and Connor.
1 second.
No, not 1 second. Right now. Bibby's phone's ringing. Should we? Let's add voices in. Hi. Yes, I am interested in that penis enlargement. Yes. Does that come in multiple sizes? How small does it go? Nice. Anyway, do you know what? I'll finish the story. Maybe doesn't need the details. But anyway, Enix, who's just run down his sub, was playing Call of Duty on the channel with Connor O'Boyle, who was previous two-time owner of Buzzkill. Anyway, so yeah, I shared a clip. So Buzzkill was like, do we know any people that we'd like to partner with? I shared a clip of Connor, which I thought was funny, but he turns out he's not even a part of it. So there you go. Nice. He's just ugly and doesn't want to be seen. Do you know what I reckon it is? I reckon it's like this. Where is it? See if I can find it. Matt Champ Ditto Face. This is what it is. So this is what Ethan Winters looks like. If it was Ethan Winters, I've forgotten the name of the character already. So the reason you don't see his face, you can see it from the side in the profile, is because when he turns around, it's that. He's like that Ditto that couldn't make faces, and every Pokemon has Ditto face. So Machamp, yeah, but when he turns around, boop, so that's what it's going to be like, 100%. Calling it right now.
I'm looking again. It's a cool little thing that they're chucking in for it. I love the thought of being able to play this game again in third person. It's going to be amazing.
I mean, if they do have an Ethan Winters face and people have seen it or can mod it so they can see it or whatever, it's still a cool little thing to be aware that the community are aware. It's almost meme levels of you don't get to see its face, and you turn the camera around and it's like, no. Like when you got a 2-year-old and you're trying to feed it the spaghetti on the spoon and the head goes anywhere but where the spoon is. Well, that's the camera. And this time it's Ethan Winters' face. Okay,
well,
so...
I mean, it just gives another purpose for me to go back and play this again. I don't know whether or not in your circumstance, because obviously you are someone who has played Resident Evil 2, has been out of the loop for so long, never really been interested in getting into the loop. But the fact that Resident Evil 2 was your jumping in point, and you're playing with, as we said yesterday, pretty much the industry standard when it comes to third-person controls now. Does having Resident Evil 8 Village have your attention now? Because they did mention that they've done a load of other stuff to the game as well to make a third-person game a little bit more viable, because in first person the horror is being in first person, whereas in third person you can obviously see a lot more of your surroundings. It might not be as scary, but like having a third-person mode in this game now, does that make it a little bit more appealing to you as someone who's played a lot of third-person games rather than first-person horror games?
I don't think it does, if I'm being honest. For me, it kind of speaks to the people that have been there already. So just on that, by the way, there was another paragraph which I'd not touched on that did say, anyone wanting to check out the new third-person mode can do so via a new Resident Evil Village demo that launches today on all platforms, offering 60 minutes of playtime, which can also be experienced from the original first-person perspective. So if you're thinking, do you know what, Resident Evil Village, maybe the new third-person does wet my whistle. It doesn't so much for me. Maybe that's because I've seen you play it and it didn't wet my whistle. So going in and playing it in third person, I usually feel like for games like this, I don't mind it being a first person or a third person game, as long as it's whatever it's meant to be, kind of thing. So I feel the fact that I've been through it in first person, getting to go through it again in third person doesn't, it's like, oh, great. Same, but slightly different, just a little bit further back, kind of thing. So for me, that doesn't. Yeah, I know some people are, particularly when it comes to shooters, massively for or against perspective. Now, if you're a TPP person, the FPPers think you're an absolute pleb. What are you doing? And if you're a FPP person, then the TPPers just think, well, you've spent all that money on your skins and stuff for your character, and you can't even see it in game. What's the point? So there's positive and negative both of it. For me, the story and how that's delivered is more important. So I think for something like Resident Evil, as long as the jump scares in TPP are cut right, because they will know that the camera, you've only got so much of a box of a frame, and when you're in FPP, you will get the things jumping out and scaring the shit out of you at certain points, certain perspectives. In TPP, you could be like, oh, look at that over there. And you're not even seeing that some fucking big thing has just jumped out to the side of you and grabbed it. As long as they take that control of the camera away from you at the right times, then it's kind of same for me. So it's cool for the people that may be already interested anyway, but that haven't got into it. It's just another excuse to try it for me. For me, it's just another thing that it's like, oh, that's cool, but I'm not going to try it from off the back of that. It
does give me an excuse to go back and replay it again, though, because I've been waiting for another excuse to dip back in again, rather than it just being the same playthrough. So this definitely does give me that opportunity to be able to go back through and hop in. It's more Resident Evil, man. What a time to be a horror game enthusiast. Like, with the fact that we had Silent Hill 2 days ago, all this Resident Evil stuff, mate. What a better time, especially during spooky season too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unreal. That can't be an accident. The fact that they've both spaffed this out within the October period, nice. Getting all of the October hype, get your pre-orders in nice and early. Then you've got the Christmas window, which is more pre-order season. So it's just great. It's great. Spoopy Ghost, says Enix, which I assume he's writing that from the toilet because his previous two messages said, BRB, need an absolute banger of a shit, which is great information. He also said, when you take a dump and it's a solid 9 out of 10. So, wow, that was a fast turd. Have you finished it already?
That's it, yeah. Olympic gold.
Like, wow. It was just like fucking rocket launching it into the... Oh, it's gone. Nice. David says, I was thinking along the lines of Nina Hyena from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when from behind she looks like Jessica Rabbit until she turns around and then looks like a crazy old bag. Is that the one that goes like, my man, or something like that? I remember and then he makes a run into a wall by changing the road line stuff. Quality film. If you've not seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, then you're letting yourself down. We can all agree on that. Nice. PTR Riot says, ads, if it's that solid, you need more fiber. I clearly need less fiber. Let's just leave it there. When you see February and the amount of bangers coming out, bank account crying, but now I'm looking for a new job again. Stop getting fired. Honestly, I've told you about being naked at work. It's not acceptable in most jobs, mate. If Nintendo don't announce Switch Pro during the Christmas period, I'll flip. Ads is going to flip. Not being fired, yeah, of course, Enix. Wink, wink. Proper winking. Don't worry. Wink, wink. I know what you mean. Wink. Nice. I'm joking. Okay, now we've been speaking about Resident Evil 4 Remake. Let's change the angle slightly. Sticking with the Resident Evil Showcase, I know this is something Bibby's super excited to get talking about. He's been a big fan of it. He's been waiting for this to come along for a long period of time, so we're going to spend a good 25 minutes talking. Look at Bibby's. Next up, Resident Evil Reverse. So we also got more details on the long-delayed multiplayer Reverse. Baby's still there. Now confirmed to support cross-play between different platforms, or cross-not play, depending, which is getting a brief early access period for all Resident Evil Village owners. Baby's still asleep. Starting at 7 p.m. PDT on 23rd of October, which is 3 a.m. for us in the UK on the 24th of October. Early access at 7 a.m. on the 26th of October. So basically, you get 2 days starting and ending at stupid o'clock in the morning if you're in the UK. Capcom also shared its post-launch plans for Reverse, promising at least 3 updates after release. With an asset here, so there's a release, which gives you a bunch of stuff. Update 1 gives you more stages, costumes, more challenges. Update 2, similar sort of thing. Update 3, similar sort of thing. So rather than overloading you with content, you get a bunch of stuff that comes out in stages. Babe, I know you're still dead. Even more, further and further into your seat. Every time I mention the word Reverse, it just drops down a little bit further. Reverse. Resident Evil 2 Remake. It's back in the room.
That's it.
I mean, part of me was thinking that was for a dramatic effect, losing the headset. But no, every time I move around, mine goes yeeting as well. The downside with it, the best thing about an Astro headset is you get really, really good audio quality without it having to be like super clamped to your head. A lot of our other headsets almost make like a sort of suction cup to your head. The Astros just sit there, which is why you can wear them for so long without them being uncomfortable. The downside is if you're a pillock, like we often are, and you move around fast, then you lose your headset. So it is what it is. Nice. Anyway, babe, I know it's a bit of a snoozer, but reverse. When the crowd say no, select out. Thoughts?
Yeah, there's a reason why this took up like 3 minutes of time in this. I feel like because they've had to work on it for so long that they just need to get it out the door now. Like they just get it out the door and forget about it. Fire and forget. We'll do apparently 2 seasons worth of a battle pass in there. It doesn't look great. I genuinely don't know what the concept of the game is. It looks like a mishmash of all the Resident Evil antagonists or protagonists all fighting against each other. Like I don't know what the purpose of this game is, Graham. I feel like this is so much time being wasted on something that isn't going to get any traction. It was the same with Resistance. Now, Resident Evil Resistance had a solid foundation in terms of it's 4v1. You have one mastermind, and then you have 4 survivors. The 4 survivors have to get through, I think it's 3 waves of enemies to be able to get through to the end. If you escape, you win. That's a pretty cool concept. So the mastermind would be in a room and they would have ability to be able to spawn in zombies to stop you from moving through, lickers, whether or not there'll be some sort of door that the other 4 survivors need to try and find keys to be able to open. The concept was okay. The execution I thought was quite poor. I just think it was time wasted on a game that would have been better suited to have a Resident Evil Outbreak or something of that ilk. Like 4 survivors, you're playing through different campaigns, different levels, different scenarios, and you have to try and escape Raccoon City or the research development or whatever it is that you need, that the objective is. That would have been so much better than a 4v1, but obviously 4v1s are and have been super popular for like the last 4 years, so I feel like they had something with that. This, however, I have no idea what the concept of this is. Is it like during the trial period, it was like a team deathmatch, and when you shot someone and they died after a certain amount of times, they like evolved into the next stage until they evolved so much that they end up dying? Like, it's the most Japanese thing that I've ever seen in my life. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It might be fantastic in different areas of the world that are super interested in this kind of concept, but for me, this is not a Resident Evil game. I don't know what the hell's going on with it.
It feels like to me, I mean, David's kind of touched on what I was about to say. Dead by Daylight does it better. It feels like to me that they've seen the success of things like Dead by Daylight and other games that are completely different entirely, like Multiverses, that has access to the full back catalogue of characters. Because Resident Evil has, obviously, protagonists and antagonists, but then it has all of the different characters from across the series. So they have a full library of characters that they can bring, a roster, so to speak. So this feels like, to me, they're looking at these other games going, they are supremely profitable, and they are continued service games. I won't even say live service. They probably are in terms of, like, obviously Dead by Daylight has certain different seasons that it'll jump through. You'll get the new Silent Hill stuff coming in it and so on. But they've clearly gone, okay, we would like a little bit of this. We'd like a Dead by Daylight playground where we can throw in The Rock to fight against fucking Leon or whoever. But we don't have anything that can work. This feels like this is them having a go at that, but not really doing it properly either. Just kind of going, well, that'll do. It's nothing to do with Resident Evil. But do you know what? Fortnite Battle Royale wasn't really Save the World, but it was close enough. There was still enough of the logic there. This just isn't. You're taking characters from a character-driven world and a story-driven world and then just throwing them into a pot and going, go. And it's like, it's not really the same thing as Fortnite doing that thing, because Fortnite's world was about building and continue stuff. It wasn't a story game as such. So
they've tried this with so many other different things. Like, it just feels like they've got the Resident Evil franchise at the moment is at its absolute height, and it hasn't been like this in forever. So even with dog shit games like Resident Evil Umbrella Corps, remember when they tried to make an esports game out of Resident Evil? That's what that game was. It was one of the worst things I ever played in my life. Operation Raccoon City basically took inspiration from what Gears of War was doing and made a duck and cover shooter. That was fucking terrible. Unless you were playing with your friends. It was, even then, it was just a bullet sponge game. It just wasn't a Resident Evil game, but they just stuck a Resident Evil sticker on it and hoped that it would sell. Fucking Muggins here still ended up buying it.
Of course he did.
Ended up doing.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
But
27 times. Multiple different platforms.
But they tried other stuff, like they had Resident Evil Dead Aim on the PlayStation 2, which was a time crisis light gun shooter game, but you use the controller to be able to move around. So you could use your controller to move, and then if you had a light gun, go into a specific mode, you'd click the trigger, and then it'd go into first person. You could then shoot the zombies on the screen. Once you've finished, press a button on the side of it. You'd then go back to third person and run around. They had Resident Evil Gun Survivor, which was a first person Resident Evil game on the PlayStation 1, which just didn't make any sense. There was no lore to it whatsoever. I just don't understand where the concept of these games from. Look at what's working and what's selling from a Resident Evil standpoint. Look at the things that you've done wrong and didn't sell and got the worst criticisms possible, and just avoid doing that rather than doing more of that and putting more shit on top of it.
That's the thing. They've look at Call of Duty. Just installed. We're both just installing Modern Warfare 2 at the moment, by the way. Shout out to Activision for the hookup. Appreciate that very, very much.
Legends.
But look at Call of Duty. They had the single play mode, nice. They then added in multiplayer, nice. They then added in online multiplayer, nice. They then added, so you had the main campaign and then you had multiplayer. They then pushed the envelope and added in a third mode because they realised, actually, do you know what? We could get more out of this. And then that's when you started to get things like zombies mode and special ops and so on. And then obviously the market, not so much Call of Duty, but the market added in BR, and Call of Duty responded to that. There's nothing wrong with developers trying to put in extra content within their games to give their players more bang for their buck, a longer shelf life, particularly in a game that's story-driven. Giving them something to live on after that is great. It doesn't necessarily work. So for like one of my favourite games of all time is The Last of Us. Did I play The Last of Us multiplayer stuff? Did I chuff? Because I'm not interested in that. Like a lot of people probably won't be interested in this. But you look at what works and what doesn't. And if it doesn't work, you don't think, okay, well, we'll just try the exact same thing again. Like I can't remember who the quote is, but it's something like the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that is what this screams of. It's like, okay, we want a third mode. in this case, technically a second mode. Just the third using the Call of Duty reference. We want Call of Duty's third option. We want something to give someone something different to play, which then potentially opens up revenue streams and so on. That's admirable. So them doing that is a good move. That's them trying to obviously chase profit, but obviously also give their users something great. But it's clearly shit, and I know this, and I don't play these games because I get enough, and it's not even just from Bibby. Every time I hear other people talk about the Resident Evil Showcase, just the other day I was listening to Kind of Funny Games Daily, and they were talking about something about Reverse, and they were like, why are they even bothering with that? And it's the same thing. Everyone unanimously knows it's gonna be crap. Why have you not only stuck with it, but why is it not the first time? Like, why is it the second time, at least, that I'm hearing this? We got, what was it, Resistance first, and then into this, like, shit versions of side games. Like, just... Side games is great, but do it better.
But spent elsewhere. That's all it is. Like, just... This should have been a demo of sorts. Like, we've got this new thing coming out. Test it out for us, see what you think. Rather than putting all your eggs in this basket. And now we understand that this team is going to be moving on to different things. I hope that it's not going to be a Resident Evil project because I don't want them anywhere near it. What I hope for the Silent Hill stuff is it's not going to be anything like this. Because my fear is that this game, this Resident Evil Reverse game, is going to be dead on arrival. There's a reason this game got packaged with your Resident Evil 8 game. Because nobody else is going to buy it.
Yeah.
That's the only fear that I've got for it.
I mean, and it didn't even get packaged with it. The game came out, and then 17 years later, you'll get to play this piece of shit that nobody wants to play. Just a great time there. Piece of shit nobody wants to play. And then we get a raid from GZ Players. Welcome in, GZ. Thank you very much for the raid, dude. Appreciate you. Good after morning. Good after morning. Definitely. Good mornish. Welcome in, everyone. We are currently... I say in the middle. We're just wrapping up the Resident Evil Showcase breakdown. It says RE4 Remake. We've actually, I'll change that text now. We've actually changed to talking about Reverse, which is the add-on game from Resident Evil. And it's a bit pants. It's a bit pants. That's the gist of it. Okay, let's jump back through the chat. Let's catch up. Are they trying to copy that zombie game we played that one time? Do you mean... Back for Blood?
Back for Blood.
No, it's a different game, and it's not a BR either. It's something different, but that's the thing. Those games had substance. This... It's okay. Where do we get to? Just admit it. Bibby, it's time to admit it. All Resident Evil games are shit. Kappa, says Tito. To which Ads then says, just admit it, Bibby, you like shit games, Kappa. The second one, he has admitted to many, many times, by the way. That's where, I mean, hashtag Bibby game is a double-sided sword. It's either, it's a very specific game that suits Bibby, or it's a shit game. It depends. You can use it, it's multifunctional. You can use it both ways. But the...
It's very fair. It's a very fair assessment.
But the all Resident Evil games are shit, Kappa. I mean, the Kappa is justified there. Most are shit. No, no. So, some of them are bangers. I can attest to that. Resident Evil 2 Remake was actually a really great game. Ish, I suppose. Apart from Skyrim, because Skyrim bangs, says Ads. Any spare codes going? Do you know what? Actually, yes. That's a true story. Yes, there will be spare codes going. So myself and Bibby both have Modern Warfare 2 being installed as we record this podcast. We do have extra copies to give away. Exclusive announcement. There you go. First time we've announced that. We do have additional copies of Modern Warfare to give away. All we need to know is what platform, and I'm assuming it's going to be PlayStation, right? Nobody would want that for Xbox, right? Tito asked the question, so I'm assuming we need to get extra PlayStation codes, right? Right. Nice. They'll work on a Resident Evil BR next. Yeah, about 20 years too late. After Mornish, welcome in GZ Plays. How was the stream? What were you playing? What were you playing? What were you doing? What were you doing? Was it more pubbers? What were we saying? What were we saying? Enix says re-fail. Yeah, a little bit. From a competitive point of view, animations and everything just don't give you a fluid experience. No, exactly. They're not meant to be fast, responsive animations. They're meant to be animations that take you through a procedural like story, not something that is dynamic. So they don't work in that same sort of sense. It's the same thing. That's not just a Resident Evil thing. That was the same thing that you can apply to the Last of Us storyline. Multiplayer and the Uncharted multiplayer, the animations aren't built for that. So, yeah. Idea is sort of cool, though. Exactly. The idea that they're trying to make something for their gamers to keep using, great. The way they're doing it, not so great. How are we all doing this fine Friday? We're all okay. We were doing okay, but we were all sat here. We were just having a conversation that we've been waiting for Ground Zero players to get involved in the stream. And now you're here, so now we're all exceptional. So, there you go. Having a banging shit, though, bro. Still shitting? Jeez. I mean, I'm confused now because we've got contrasting information. Your first story like almost made it sound like you shot out like a bullet. Are you still on the toilet? God damn. PC codes? Question mark. Potentially, Gagat. Potentially. We don't have a specific platform in mind. We have to request the platform that we want. So we're going to have a conversation and see if we can run the giveaway and then give the request at the end, depending on what people want. So the ideal for us is that we run the giveaway and we have, let's say it's 2 codes, and we can just go, get involved, and then if you win it on PC, we can hopefully request you a PC code. If you want it on Xbox, we can hopefully request you an Xbox code. But keep your eyes out for that, because we haven't locked it in, which is why it's not been actually shared on social media yet, but it will be coming. So if you're after a copy of Modern Warfare, we have at least 1 code to give away. At least. Bibby, ignore my previous comment regarding Resident Evil games. He's trying to buy favor. Nice.
Noted.
No one wants it for Xbox, says talk shows unmuted. Nice. I'll buy a PS5 just to spite you. No. Good mornish, AG Superior. Welcome in, dude. Pubber's not my finest performances today, but fun nonetheless. That's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for. If you saw the size of my shits, you'll understand. It's not a game of jump and dump. It's a case of not getting hemorrhoids. Well, there you go. Nice. Too much information, but there we go. Okay, we'll wrap up this Resident Evil Showcase stuff with, and finally, release dates for the various Resident Evil cloud versions are coming to Switch. So this is the ads bit. Nice. There is cloud versions of the game coming to Switch. So if you want to play Resident Evil Village, it arrives on the 28th of October, with the Winter's expansion due on the 2nd of December, which is 1 day before Graham's birthday, just in case anyone wants to know. It's 3rd of December is my birthday. So if you were looking to buy any form of presents and or cards or whatever, it's the 3rd that you need to get them by, because that is the birthday. Oh, there we go. It is, yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. There you go, nice. And those are followed by the Resident Evil 2 remake on the 11th of November. Next up is the Resident Evil 3 remake on the 18th of November, with the cloud version of Resident Evil 7 rounding things off on the 16th of December. Basically, if you've got a Nintendo Switch, and you want to absolutely Resident Evil your face, did I say Resident Evil Switch? Whatever. If you've got a Switch and you want to Resident Evil your face off between now and Christmas, then all of the content. So the 28th of October, which is next Friday, you get to play Resident Evil Village. Then the 2nd of December, you get the expansion for that. But in the meantime, you get Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake, and then Resident Evil 7 throughout November and into December. And then you get Christmas. So fuck yeah. Switch players, if you've not played the latest, is that the latest 4 releases from the Resident Evil universe, then you get them all. So that's pretty cool. It is cloud-based, so you can't play them on the go. You will need, obviously, connections and stuff to be able to do that. But still, nice. I feel for balance, we need 1 for Bibby, but it's likely to be Graham shouting, "No one cares about Bibby." No, Bibby. No, I care about Bibby's birthday. It's after mine, so mine gets the song and dance first. So Bibby's from the 4th. Bibby's birthday matters.
Yeah, and then just pass on the love. It's fine.
Yeah. So it's yeah. It's just Bibby's not like obsessed with his birthday like I am. So that's the only reason we've not got one. So yeah, I mean, if he wants one, he can have one. Anyway, we're moving ahead though. We are running out of time. We've been live for 57 minutes. Obviously, we've had the countdown as part of that, so we've still got a little bit of time left. But not for Resident Evil. It'll jump to the next story, which is now on the screen. Tom Ivan at VGC has this story. It says, hours of footage of the Diablo 4 endgame beta has leaked. The closed beta recently launched, and it's supposed to be confidential. Awkward. So hours of footage of the Diablo 4 endgame beta has been published online following the launch of the closed test. The game's latest testing phase is supposed to be confidential, meaning players aren't meant to talk about it publicly or share footage, but multiple users have chosen to do so this week by posting gameplay online. And that process, by the way, is called Being a Dick. Nice. So beta participants can sample a range of content that will be available after players complete Diablo 4's campaign. This includes Nightmare Dungeons, Whispers of the Dead, Fields of Hatred, Paragon boards, and the game's newest feature, Helltide. Quote, we have decided to focus the closed beta on Diablo 4's endgame offerings for a few reasons, Blizzard said last month. The full story of Lilith's return to Sanctuary is not something we would like to spoil prior to release. Players will experience a post-campaign Sanctuary during the closed endgame beta. Also, for many, the endgame is their favourite aspect of Diablo. We want to ensure it feels satisfying and with no shortage of challenging variety to experience across many, many demon-slaying gaming missions. End quote. The endgame beta is playable on PC, Xbox Series X, and Xbox, all the flat platforms and stuff. Nice. So nice. Content, endgame, they want to make sure it works. They don't want to spoil the story. That's cool. So they gave out a few bits for people to keep behind closed doors, and what's not pretty cool is that a bunch of those people have already started sharing that content. Do you think that justifies the reason for not sharing what comes before the end game, as in the culmination of the story? Is this Blizzard's fault? Are people asshats? What are your thoughts, Bibbs?
No, I believe that people are asshats, Graham. I don't believe this is Blizzard's fault. I think when they have given all of this information out, including the codes and stuff, or whatever it is, or the access, they have given this on the premise of, like, when EA go to do their early access stuff, they have watermarks going across the screen because you're not meant to stream it, you're not meant to post about it, but people do anyway, and they just blur out their EA ID and stuff like that. Like, people will want to be able to be the person that gives the information first. If you ain't first, you're last. And people try to build as much clout as they can off this. I've got something that you don't have that I know you want, that I know you want more information from. I have it, therefore I will give it to you. It's shit, but there's always what are the repercussions going to be from this? Probably nothing, apart from us going, "You're an asshat."
Yeah, it's like that what was he called? The Insider or something? That dude that made his fake Twitter account to share. So he gets information from brands that he puts out on his YouTube channel legitimately. Naturally, he is confined to NDA's timescales and what he can share because he's a legitimate, air quotes, business source. He knows that if he shared that information early, he would get shitloads of media share because he'd be exclusive, he'd get it before everyone else. But in doing that, he would cut off his access to, in this case, Activision Blizzard. So what he did was create a second account that he pretended he didn't know was him or whatever, and shared all of the shit for that for clout. So anyone sharing this stuff has been given access to a game for a couple of reasons. One, because you're interested in helping experience, to making sure that the experience of the game is great for the people that actually will get to play it on full release. And two, you are supposed to be enthralled enough, either in the game or gaming in general, that you would like to get your hands on and test content before it's been released. So a couple of legit reasons there. Blizzard are giving people access to a game with the proviso that we have an agreement. This isn't for public consumption. This isn't for people to share elsewhere. This is for you to see and for your eyes only for whatever reasons it is. Jobs are good. And people going into that just for the explicit purposes of sharing it for clout are dicks. They are dicks. It's a proper dick move. And do you know what? GG's for Activision Blizzard. For one, looping in the community to help better the quality of the game for the people that will play it at full release. And two, realizing that people are dicks, so not giving out the big crescendos of Lilith's story in the game, and instead giving the stuff that comes after that. So shout out to them for both parts. For one, trying to better their game, and for two, realizing people are dicks and protecting the people that want to play their game. So in this sort of situation, GG's to ActiBliz, and big thumbs down to the asshats that shared it online. If you want to see it, obviously it's endgame stuff. Feel free to check it out. If you're not that bothered about seeing it because you're super invested in playing the content, maybe just leave it alone and play it for what it's meant to be. So there you go. Where's the ice cream? Right here, Hair Crocodile. Hey. Reverse makes me think of South Park and their re-release of Riders of the Lost Ark and E.T. I don't know if I remember those South Park episodes. Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T. I don't remember those, so I'm going to go, okay. Like, it's a reference I'm not getting, unfortunately. Okay, we'll move ahead. We'll keep the pace going. This time, we'll jump into a story that we started talking about yesterday. Tom Ivan at VGC has Xbox wants to build a mobile game store to compete with Google and Apple. Microsoft's planned Activision Blizzard acquisition is partly driven by its mobile ambitions. So Microsoft has outlined plans to create a next-generation game store, aided by its proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The company discussed its plans in a regulatory filing published this week by the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, which is currently scrutinising the planned merger. Quote, the transaction will improve Microsoft's ability to create a next-generation game store which operates across a range of devices, including mobile, as a result of the addition of Activision Blizzard's content, it said, spotted by The Verge. Quote, building on Activision Blizzard's existing communities of gamers, Xbox will seek to scale the Xbox store to mobile, attracting gamers to a new Xbox mobile platform. Quote, shifting consumers away from the Google Play Store and App Store on mobile devices will, however, require a major shift in consumer behavior. Microsoft hopes that by offering well-known and popular content, gamers will be more inclined to try something new. End quote. Xbox boss Phil Spencer, nailed it again, by the way, Xbox boss, nice. Phil Spencer claimed in August that Microsoft's planned acquisition of Activision Blizzard was primarily driven by the company's mobile and PC gaming ambitions. Asked by Bloomberg how the proposed $68.7 billion, which is super close, we might as well just call it 69.
Nice.
There we go. $1 billion deal came about. Microsoft's head of gaming said the company was motivated by a desire to grow its creative capability on non-console platforms, particularly mobile. We'll stop there. We don't need to go through the rest of the article. But Xbox doesn't just want to crush the dreams of PlayStation, but it also wants to crush the dreams of Google and Apple too. Basically, Xbox are bad people, is the gist. I think that's all. Okay, moving ahead now, Bib, what are your thoughts?
Do you remember that Microsoft used to have a mobile? Like, they used to have their own mobile. Was it HTC was the handset creator, but they had a Microsoft OS on it? Way back when, because I had one of those.
We were talking about this, I think, yesterday, maybe just after you'd gone, but I mentioned, like, or maybe it was Wednesday stream. I was talking about the Metro, because it was called Metro, was their operating system, and it was the tile sort of stuff, when everything on Microsoft was just like one big colour, like, say, a green background, and then everything had like square blocks and stuff that you clicked on. Ugly as fuck, but yeah. Yeah, sorry,
over to you. Before, so they have had the ability to be able to have some sort of input into the marketplace, but I feel like it's almost a little too late when it comes to creating apps and things like that. We're going to try and create apps that everybody knows, but everybody knows the apps that you can get in Google Play and the Apple App Store. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be first party mobile phone apps for people to be able to download them, but if you wanted to download Diablo Immortal, for instance, obviously you can do that on all platforms. What they're going to do, revoke the access for those on all of those platforms, and the only way you're able to play them is like on a Microsoft one. Like, I don't know how this is ever going to work, and I don't believe that this is something that they seriously think that they'll be able to contend with. More power to them if they think they can, though. Like, God loves a trier.
I'm doing something extremely serious. It seems like 77 quid's worth of McDonald's has just been ordered into the office. So my natural response is, what the fuck? Where was this yesterday when me and Bibby were in the office? So if that's the case, do you know what? Monday morning, we're going to be having fucking McDonald's at home, and I'm charging it back to the fucking business. Fuck's sake. So yeah, distracted. Sorry, babe. Give me the 411. What was
the TLDR? I don't know how they're going to be able to compete with Google Play and Apple App Store. Is that what it's called?
I don't know how they're going to compete anyway, because Apple already want to squash this shit. I mean, we've already seen Epic trying to change that around with trying to get rid of the 30% what's the phrase I'm looking for? Share that they take. Everything you buy on an Apple device, Apple take 30% of it. So if you spend £4 on a sub on Twitch, Apple take 30%, which is why it costs more to sub on your mobile. Don't sub on your mobile, sub in a browser, because you'll save more money and you'll put less into the pockets of big greedy companies. I mean, you're still doing that with the Twitch sub anyway, let's be fair. But yeah, Xbox wants to compete with them. The way they are going to compete is by bringing things like Candy Crush, is by bringing things like Call of Duty Mobile and things like that. Having those taken away from those app stores and putting into the Xbox App Store is the way that you get that sort of stuff to happen. Because Call of Duty is monumental enough in terms of stories that in terms of games. I've just seen the link to the story that West Lake's requesting in the chat, so I'll paste push bosh. Nice. It is a monumental game. It is massively impacting the world of mobile gaming and content consumed on the go. So that could have a change. If you put Candy Crush in alongside that, okay, that could too. But it will also, if there is nothing else alongside it, just be your Candy Crush and thingy launcher, effectively. It happens on PC. People have Epic Games and will have it as, oh, great. I mean, there's loads of stuff that's free on it, but it's my Fortnite launcher on my PC. And that's kind of it. Like, obviously, Rocket League and Among Us or whatever else they've bought since then. Fall Guys, there you go. But beyond that, people go, okay, well, I'll still use my other launcher, Steam, for everything else because that's how it works. And that's the same thing on mobile. But the thing is like, Xbox are already having problems with bringing things like Game Pass to mobile devices. So they can't really, like, the mobile launcher, surely that's going to have problems when it comes to Google and Apple and anything there anyway. They're going to go, okay, we don't want you to be able to launch this. So their launcher, their app, continues to have to live in browser, in theory, right? Like, if you want to play Xbox Game Pass games, you have to do it through Safari or whatever browser you use on the game because they won't allow you to have an embedded app in the store. So actually taking over mobile games, which is the platform that you're playing it on, I mean, Google and Apple are not going to let that happen really easily. I mean, Google probably, Apple definitely won't, or Google possibly, should I say. So they want to compete with it. I'm massively open for them competing with it. They've got a lot of games. They've got a lot of brands. They've got a lot of content across all of the Xbox library. Xbox, as we've known for the last few years, even though it has box in the name, their whole shtick is getting rid of the box recently. They don't believe in generations like PlayStation do. They want you to just join the Xbox ecosystem. And if that's on mobile, that's great. But Google and Apple are not going to let that happen. Not easily. So, yeah, interesting. Hair Crocodile redeemed Ask a Question twice. Woo.
Oh, what is it?
Fire away, Crocodile. What would you like to know? Do you have any games on your phones? Yes, but not many. I have... Most of the games that I have on my phone are offline games. I do have things like PUBG Mobile and eFootball installed. But if I'm going to play PUBG, I'm going to play it on my console, maybe my PC. If I'm going to play eFootball, I'm going to play it on my console, maybe my PC. I would play those games when I'm on the go, usually when I'm on a plane, which is when I can't play those games. So I do have games on my phone, but I don't really play them. The ones that I do play, I default back to playing things like New Star Soccer or whatever the follow-up version of I've got installed, like from New Star.
New Star Manager, wasn't it?
Something like that.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
What's it called? I don't know if I got it installed.
I have it installed, but I can't find it because it's not called New Star. But whatever that game is, the new classic-y sort of game from New Star, I have that installed. I used to have some sort of like table foosball game, but that has stopped being supported, so that's been deleted. I've got Streets of Rage 2 installed, and I usually go back to those games because I play games when I'm on a plane, when I don't have connectivity, which if Google and Apple competition from Xbox comes through a browser that has to be always online through a cloud sort of element, then that is irrelevant to me in that sort of sense. If they can get an app on that store that does allow you to play games directly through Xbox's Game Pass subscription, for example, then that is actually pretty useful and becomes useful for me from Christmas when I get Game Pass. So, like the idea, I'm not sure how it's going to work. Apple is not going to let Xbox stick an app on that you can play games that circumvents their ability to pay for their system. You can't play a game on Apple's phone without them taking a couple of quid off you. It's like a corkage fee. When you take a bottle to a restaurant that doesn't serve beer, they'll charge you £2 for just having you open it because you're taking away from them. That's the same thing here. I think Apple want their corkage fee. They want their finder's fee. You're playing on our device, it'll cost you a few quid. So, yeah, I don't know.
This is Fortnite not that long ago, didn't we?
Exactly. So, interesting. Which console is that, Graham? Is it the Superior console? Are you talking about the PS5 again, Agent Superior? Nice one, mate. Let's go. Nice. I was talking about my mobile, which is also more superior than the other console. What's that one? Egg Bosch? So I can't remember. Something. Yeah. Found a good, fun mobile golf game and then puzzle game, says Neil. I'll read Neil. Welcome in.
Hey, Neil.
Bibbs, you got any mobile games installed?
I have quite a lot, you know. I do. I did massively get into card games, so I've got Elder Scrolls Legends. I've got that one. Then I've got eFootball. I've got FIFA. I've got Football Strike. Love that one. Diablo Immortal, obviously. What else have I got?
I've got the Foot Companion installed now.
Yeah.
As of last week, I've got that installed as well too.
Football Manager, and then Soccer Manager, and then Soccer Manager Worlds, which is a multiplayer version of the game.
Basically, think of any football game that you can have, and then think of crap versions. We've already established he's got basically hashtag Bibby games of football games, on his phone. So he's got good games, and then the Bibby game versions of them as well.
Pokemon trading card games, Beat Star, Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, Pokemon Go, I've got that as well.
I must be running out of
Bibby games.
They're like 4 or 5 gigabytes. Some of these games.
Yeah, filth. Especially, I mean, I've got PUBG and New State, and they are massive. And then obviously eFootball's quite a large game as well. So yeah, some chonkers in there. X-Block. The irony is that I'm taking the piss out. That's probably the third time I've taken the piss out of Xbox in this broadcast. And if I just sit up and stretch, look at my t-shirt. Who's wearing an Xbox t-shirt? This guy. Let's go. So yeah, Xbox t-shirts, nice. Afternoon, says Neil. I'll read. Okay, we got one more story to quickly skim over. We probably won't give too much thoughts on this, and then we'll wrap up with Bibby's full guitar solo rendition. Yeah. So get yourselves comfortable. Yeah. Okay, next story, let me full screen it for you, is written by Ed Nightingale at Eurogamer. It says, Twitch prohibits unlicensed gambling streams as influential streamers threaten strike. Update, new guidelines now in effect. So I'm going to scroll down to the original story, and then we'll jump back up to the update. I'm not sure if that's the best way to do it, but that's the way we're going to go. So original story from the 21st of the 9th, 2022. This was obviously a month ago. Twitch has updated its regulations on gambling on the streaming platform following an outcry from streamers. The new policy prohibits streaming of gambling sites that include slots, roulette, or dice games that aren't licensed in the US or other jurisdictions that provide sufficient consumer protection from the 18th of October, should I say. So this follows strike threats from some of the biggest Twitch streamers after former Team Liquid member It's Slicker, I don't actually Sliker, that dude, admitted to have scammed viewers and fellow streamers out of $200,000 to fund his gambling addiction. I'm going to stop there because we did cover that. Just wanted to give you a little bit of a recatch up. We covered this story last month, but there now has been an update to that. So a couple of days ago, Twitch's new guidelines on unlicensed gambling streams are now in effect. The streaming platform previously stated it would prohibit streaming of unlicensed gambling sites from the 18th of October, as per our previous story below. Now, a new post has been added to the community guidelines. Few new details are given beyond specifying prohibited sites, but it reiterates the new policy. Quote, as with all of our policies, your account may receive an enforcement if you stream these prohibited sites. That said, we know this may be an adjustment for some and will be levering warnings in addition to suspensions in applicable cases in order to be fairer to streamers who may not have understood the change yet, it reads. So following on from a bunch of stuff last month, there is a lot of back and forth around this. Some people are against it, some people are for it. But there's loads of nuances. The easiest take is that gambling bad for on Twitch, but there's a lot of other things that are also and are questionable. The gist of it is Twitch hasn't banned gambling. Twitch has banned unlicensed gambling sites. Is the gist of it. But a bit thoughts.
I think this is a very good move. Like, obviously, it's going to hinder the people who aren't able to get a gambling license, but it also protects the people who are gamblers that want to know that what they're doing and they are gambling is going to be above board. I don't think this is a bad move in terms of they are only going to be supporting licensed gamblers that, one, will be able to pay out if you end up winning in the first place, because obviously you don't want someone who, if you end up winning big, won't end up paying you out. I know there is some bookies out there that do their best to try and read it, make sure you read the fine print. Like if you got too many bets going on or something like that. I mean, I'm not a gambler, so I'm not going to go into the finer details of it because I'll just be talking absolute ass. But you want the best of the best in terms of licensed in gambling. You want to know where your money's going, essentially, and having only licensed gambling systems in place is a step in the right direction. Obviously, again, like, it will hinder some unsupported, unlicensed websites, but why would you want to risk your money going to an unlicensed gambling establishment in the first place? It makes no sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. The likes of Stake, etc., which Rothstein and Trainwreck, etc., all stream on with dodgy money. Banned. I don't know who Rothstein or Trainwreck are, so there you go. But banned, get out. It's not all gambling sites, so they've banned the dodgy ones. Yeah, exactly. Hello! If you need real, free, and high-quality service to increase your viewers, check stream details. Top streamers already use it. Do top streamers already use it, Ronald Rest? Even though you can't type the full name? That's great. Let me do an exclamation mark famous. It doesn't quite apply, but...
Piss off, Ghost!
Piss off, Ghost! Yeah, Ronald, get the fuck out of here. Ban.
Get the fuck. Get the fuck.
Do you know what? Whenever we post anything about stream in general, we get, like a lot of people probably do, the graphics. Hey, would you like some new graphics for your stream? Hey, I just want to give you some friendly advice. Your stream is really great, and I like the content that you do, even though I've not said anything specific about what you do. The things that you do are superb, and I think that they could benefit from better graphics. Oh, really? I mean, clearly haven't checked any of my content because we are a design agency. We we exist to create graphics. Obviously, we could make ours better, but we're too busy getting paid for making other people's better to focus on ours. But yeah, you clearly put a lot of time and effort into my graphics. Thank you very much, you twats. But yeah. Twitch bans unlicensed gambling streams. I mean, I must admit, I haven't fully looked into this. I have seen some big streamers. Or at least, no, let me rephrase that. I have seen people saying, so this second-hand reporting, I have seen people saying some big streamers are pissed off at this because it's damaging revenue potential for them, damaging partnerships and stuff with them. But the very limited research that I've done, i.e. clicking on a few articles, the very limited research that I've done has shown that, as Nietzsche said, it's the dodgy sites that are being banned. So from my side, I know, okay, nobody wants to see their partners being banned and stuff, but if your partners are dodgy as fuck, then they get better partners. That's the gist of it from me. So Twitch prohibiting unlicensed gambling streams. Okay, well, if you're not licensed, then you're not completely above board. Then you don't belong on Twitch anyway. I mean, I'm not interested in gambling streams on Twitch, but because I'm not, doesn't mean that other people aren't, and gambling still exists on Twitch. Obviously, whether you think that's right or not is a completely different story. But the illegal shit, the dodgy stuff is gone. And I don't think there's a negative in that for me. But, if you know more about the subject, feel free to chip in. But there you go. Every country and most platforms have restrictions on gambling. Twitch streams should be no different. You already can't stream gambling on Twitch if you are based in the UK. I know that, you can't stream... Is that true now? Because I know that it used to be a thing. I know that you used to be able to do it from the UK... but you couldn't do things like poker online from certain states in the US. I say certain, most states. There was only a few that allowed it. So I know that because we've been approached to do gambling stuff with content creators in the past. We've never actually done any. but obviously, naturally, had to read up on the rules and stuff. But we haven't obviously been anywhere near that for years, so I don't actually know. It used to be legal at that point in time to play things like online poker on stream in the UK, but just not in the US. But I don't know. There you go.
Yeah. I think it was you could do it, but it had to be like, because Twitch have got something with like
Fucking hell,
World Poker
size of this
Stars or
moth.
World Poker Tour, whatever that's called. I think it was like it had to be approved for them to be able to do it. It couldn't just be like any normal betting website, as long as it was a sponsored or approved poker company. I think they could use it over in the US. But yeah, I did remember that they ended up blacklisting. That's it, blacklisting a load of different gambling websites.
Yeah. Nietzsche says it used to be able to, however, all the UK gambling streamers are now on YouTube as Twitch banned it. Well, there you go. That's why the big streamers are all based in Malta, Sweden, etc. Get around it. I see. Okay, well, we'll get around it now, and we'll get to our final news story of the day. We do this every single week, and get yourselves braced, because I know there's a lot of people out there that can play musical instruments in the world. Yeah,
I'm not one of them.
You might be able to name some absolute legends of music, but none of them have been on the scoop. So basically, Bibby is the best musician that has ever existed in the world of the scoop. And on that bombshell, what is the next segment called, Bib?
Free game Friday.
Oh, fucking
free game on your Friday morning. Quiet morning anymore, but it's free game Friday.
Discord squashed the middle bit, but we get the idea. I mean, that's it. It's just if you want to hear it in full, you'll have to come back another time, and then maybe one day Discord will do it without squashing it. But all I know is, I mean, I was hoping it lived up to the build-up, and the build-up didn't live up to the content. Let's put it that way. Next time I feel like my build-up needs to do better. So GG, Bib. Nice.
I even put in a nice little ad hoc verse in there for you as well. Do you know what I mean?
I know. I was talking over it. I didn't expect it. It caught me off guard. It was amazing. Nice. Do you know what? Somehow we have to follow that up with the actual content. But we only stuck around for that, really, didn't we? But anyway, here we go. We'll try. Epic Games Store, what's free until October 27th? This is written by Morgan Park and the crew at PC Gamer, and it says Fallout 3, Bethesda's first journey into the Wasteland series back in 2008, is getting on in years at this point. It's aged visually, but post-apocalyptic Washington, D.C. is still an adventure worth taking. The Game of the Year edition with all the DLC still sets you back $20 these days, though. So free is a swell price for what's now something of a classic RPG. Evoland, meanwhile, is a journey through the history of action-adventure gaming that mimics classic adventures like, someone grab hold of ads, Zelda, RPGs like Final Fantasy, and action RPGs too. The Legendary Edition is a bundle that includes Evoland 2 and Evoland, a short story of adventure video games evolution as well. So there you go, Evoland and Fallout 3, both available right now, and I actually did redeem both of them today. Usually I forget, but I made sure I got them before the stream started, so I redeemed them on the Epic Games Store. So if you've got a PC, get into the Epic Games Store, get the launcher. If you haven't already got it, get your games redeemed. Even if you're not planning to play them anytime soon, get them there, keep them forever. Nice. Do it. No spawn. We're not affiliated with Epic at all. It's just we want to tell you how to get free stuff. You might as well do it.
Yeah.
JMK says Bibby Pop. Fuck you, Iggy Pop. We got Bibby Popping.
Baby Pop. I was going to bust into some
Sick and tired of hearing all this talk about. Nice. I mean, I would much prefer some Bibby Pop, Dirty Pop, as opposed to Iggy Pop. I mean, I'd rather see Bibby with the Justin Timberlake Super Noodles haircut rather than Iggy Pop topless leather pants. I think I'd be more inclined for that one. So.
Man, I'm tired of singing.
I've never seen it before. Whatever.
I see you out of context again.
Yeah, just that one clip, man. I'm tired of singing. Graham just fucking deteriorates for the next 5 seconds.
The Graham beatbox, fantastic.
Do you know what? On that bombshell, we are done. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. GZ, thank you very much for the raid, dude. Appreciate you. Enix for the 28 months Prime as well. And everyone else that's been in the stream across the course of the day, including Hair Crocodile, who redeemed 2 lots of asking a question to ask a question. And do you know what? rejecting both of them, you can have your points back, even though you asked the question, because that's what the scoop's about. It's about having a little bit of discussion, and it was on topic. So if you was asking about, what's your favourite cake, then maybe we might have taken your points off you. But it was on point, so you can have them back. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. For everyone that's been here throughout the stream, we appreciate you very much. But do stick around. We're going to go a little bit further. We're going to pass you on to one of our friends that's streaming right now. It's always nice to pass on some love. But to make it a benefit for you, you will get an extra 250 sprinkles that you can spend on this channel. That's like half a question that could be asked. That will just give you the money back for it. Like Nietzsche's just redeemed Ask a Question. I'm taking those points. Yoink.
Yoink.
I give them back to him. It's okay. But yeah, what is your favourite cake? Fuck you. Chocolate fudge cake, by the way. Chocolate fudge cake with a nice bit of pouring cream on it. Oosh. Tito redeemed disco lights. Okay, fine. As the disco lights are rolling, Mr. Bibb, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Yes, again, thank you very much to each and every one of you that have helped shape the 5 shows this week. We very much appreciate it. But if you want to help shape next week's 5 shows, there's 2 ways that you can do so. First of all, find us on social media. It is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, or alternatively, get involved with our Discord.
Nice.
If you're watching this on any of our on-demand services, go into the description below. All the links that you require will be listed there below. But all we need from you is the URL plus your thoughts and opinions. We will then give you our thoughts and opinions on the very next show, which will be at what time on Monday, Mr. Graham Day.
I'll tell you that in a second, but I need to ask, did you say opinions? It was like opinions and impressions like mixed together. It sounded like opinions. No, but either way, 10 a.m. ish. So we'll be back 10 a.m. ish on Monday. Before then, though, tomorrow 10 a.m. ish, I'll be back with some PUBG fun times. If you want to join me and the boys, we can do some they're flocking this way shit. If you haven't seen it, do feel free to check out all of our channels. It's now on Instagram. We tweeted it earlier on this week. It's on the Hover. It's on TikTok. Check it out. Good contents.
On YouTube.
Nice. On the YouTube. Nice. Feel free to check it out. My points end up with fucking beans anyway, the goth. And then his belong to me, says David. Nice. All sharing is caring. From now, though, have yourselves a beautiful day. Remember, stick around for the raid. Until next time, stay brusty.